Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review the much anticipated Army of the Dead. A lost treasure, an epic adventure, and unspeakable terror.
Written and directed by Zack Snyder, starring Dave Bautista and Ella Purnell.
You ready to play?
Okay, we were gonna play this joke a little bit too long. We'll stop it right here. We found another Army of the Dead. We were just on Tubi looking for Army of the Damned because we thought that would be funny to release this week. But we found one that's actually called Army of the Dead. So that's what we're reviewing. And just hang in there. I think you're gonna enjoy this just as much as you would an actual Army of the Dead 2021 review.
Innocent people are dead because of you!
So this movie is directed by Joseph Conti and stars Ross Kelly, Stefani Marchesi, Miguel Martinez, and Mike Hatfield. This movie's about a group of people that are all like professors and students. They're celebrating a friend's birthday and they're just having fun, going on dune buggy rides. But unfortunately, the professor there, he has bad intentions because he knows of some gold from the 1600s that he wants to bring back with him.
You're not looking for that lost treasure, are you?
We're closer than ever. You never know what you'll find in the desert.
But that gold comes at a high price because when you take the gold, you know it still belongs to someone, and in this case, it's the Army of the Dead, a legion of conquistador skeletons that have risen to get back what's theirs. Now tell me that isn't as enticing as the Dave Bautista movie. Come on, Zack Snyder's got nothing on this. Let's talk about our likes.
Surprisingly enough, this film had fantastic CGI. And I'm saying fantastic lightly.
He is using this very, very loosely. It's good in comparison to a lot of really low budget movies. This film has a $50,000 budget, so they're working with next to nothing here. It's like, yeah, sure, they're really shiny looking skeletons and stuff, but the shadows look real, and even when they're standing by a fire, like the lighting is appropriate, and they did a good job mixing some CG with practical elements. And so we're gonna be talking full spoilers. This is a movie from 2008. No one cares about this movie. We're only doing it because it was a joke. But the CG mixed with practical is a great aspect of this movie.
Especially the walking skeletons. I hate to see them go, but I love to watch them walk away.
It looks like somebody put on a morph suit and they're just like, buddy, can you just walk like a normal human being? Sure. Strutting his stuff, his skeleton stuff. I do think they look kind of stupid, but it is part of the charm as well. They all look like Spinal from Killer Instinct. And at moments when there's like actual fighting showdowns, it looks like exactly that. He's even got a shield and a sword ready to go. So the Killer Instinct music was just running through my head the whole time. I had the Killer Cut CD that came with that. I love Killer Instinct, and I've been playing it since the arcades. N64, Killer Instinct Gold was like the first game I got other than Pilot Wings, of course. Fuck Mario. The girls were babes in this movie. Usually there should be other things that I like about this movie, but it's rough.
So because you covet the treasure, we're all screwed.
Yes, that's right. Screwed.
But the girls were excellent to look at. I would imagine that main guy, Ross Kelly.
Ross Kelly, you mean Chris Pine lookalike? I feel like every time we find a movie on Tubi, we find like the party version. Like, you know, like the celebrity impersonators at parties. So
You're
like,
right.
Like we've had Benedict Cumberbatch in Blood Scarab, and now we got Chris Pine and Tiffany Shepis in this one.
The one girl looks exactly like Tiffany Shepis. But unfortunately, Audrey Anderson, this is, I think, her only credit. She's a mega bitch.
You know Jenny, the girl who stole my husband twice? Small tits, great butt, lots of attitude.
Basically, okay, we haven't really talked about what this movie's about. So they're going here, they're looking for the gold, yada yada. There's like 3 or 4 couples that are just like hanging and partying, and then the professor.
So our main man, Chris Pine, cheated on his wife with Tiffany Shepis lookalike. She thought it would be a great idea to come with her current boyfriend to his birthday to give him a hand job in the tent.
That was a sneaky ass hand job, I'm gonna be honest. Why is my wife covered in a sleeping bag and this girl's been like eyeing me the whole time? It was like, that guy knew what the fuck he was getting into. It was either gonna be that cheating little bitch or it was gonna be a skeleton. I was hoping for the skeleton. A reach around from a skeleton would have been hilarious.
Every bone in my body's been jerked out of place.
Alas, it was just the Tiffany Shepis. He did look guilty as fuck.
But he had a history. That's the one part we didn't know. He's a cheater. A little pumpkin eater.
Like, we should just go to the dislikes because we don't have a lot to like about this film. Like, the characters are just paper thin. Nobody cares about these characters.
It's the professor and his group. It's his birthday present. You're brainiacs.
We forgot this one. There's like a side couple, and the girl of that couple, this is her first film, and guess what her latest film is? Army of the Dead. She plays a news reporter #1 in the 2021 version.
She's just waited 13 years to be in both films.
She's a throwaway character. They're not even around for half the time, and they just get blown up randomly by an arrow to a gas tank. And that was it.
Oh, when the Tiffany Shepis character dies, she like slowly is like creeping with a rock. I get that skeleton kill was good. You didn't see it coming because he was looking the other way, but you could have just thrown the rock at him. It was just really awkward.
Let me give you some advice, John. Life can be as simple as you choose it to be.
Well, can't get much more complicated than this.
Well, that's because you're fighting nobody. You can fight invisible people, and if it's CG, it's up to the CG person, Joe, to figure it out. It almost seemed like the cameraman knew they would never be able to pull this off. They're just like, fuck, just shoot at my head and just wiggle the camera and it should look like I'm fighting a skeleton. And that's basically what it looked like.
And when we're like talking about all the special effects and everything, yeah, the skeletons didn't look too bad, but like everything else was really weak, especially the 2D element that is the opening to the cave.
Are you sure you're up to this?
I was born for this, Professor.
I think the whole story just kind of sucks. It's super bland. It takes place in the middle of a desert, so like there's nothing appealing to look at.
Oh, wow. This is beautiful.
Even the action sequences, when you think they're going to war with like the Army of the Dead, but the actual finale that they came up with was very ridiculous.
Look, Poindexter, any boogeymen show up and try to take what's mine, I'll send them straight back to hell.
John Barnes, he thought it would be great to wrap cables around a tower and then electrocute all the skeletons because they had metal on them.
Here we get into a plot hole in something called Army of the Dead. If his goal is to electrocute anything holding metal, he gave his girlfriend a gun to hold on to and said, hey,
Take your ring off.
What?
Just take it off. All your jewelry.
we don't want you getting electrocuted.
But take this.
But hold this, I think you'll be fine. And he goes outside with a metal samurai sword. He goes and starts killing these things. Eventually, everything electrocutes the whole Army of the Dead. And he sees that gold coin, completely forgetting that if he picks that up, he's getting fucking electrocuted. He picks it up, he doesn't get electrocuted. Why the fuck not? He takes the coin, throws it at the last remaining living Professor Skeleton guy, and then he gets electrocuted. Well, why the fuck didn't John Barnes get electrocuted?
Because science. John Barnes is a professor of science. That's why he's on this archaeological dig and knows a lot about ancient samurai swords.
We all know how much you love ancient artifacts.
It's 16th century.
This is what's confusing too. So that he talks about how he knows stuff about science,
It's physics 101.
yet to my knowledge and to IMDb knowledge, it suggests that they are archaeologists and they know ancient history and that's why they're doing this specific excursion. So I don't know why he knew science.
John Barnes, I didn't think you had it in you.
I didn't like the way the skeletons sounded. I didn't like the sound effect. They sounded like velociraptors. I kind of wish we had like a Mars Attacks.
You
sound
wanted an
effect.
ack.
Skeletons don't screech.
Well, I've never heard a skeleton, John. Clonking around with bones and stuff.
If anything, it would be like the wind going through their bones, creating a sound.
That is creepy. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. This wasn't the Army of the Dead that you wanted, nor was it the Army of the Dead that we wanted. We found this on Tubi randomly, and we just thought it would be funny, and it was mostly boring. It was worth the joke of putting it on the channel, which I'm sorry to everybody involved, honestly. I think there were good aspects as far as like some of the practical effects and some of the CGI and the combination of the two. The acting was whatever. Nothing to write home about. Nothing was too terrible. There was some strange dialogue.
There's a place in every man's heart that wants to be rich.
That may be true, but you're the greediest bastard here.
But the main reason I didn't like it was because it was just kind of boring. Nothing really happened. You had skeletons and you had some people, but you didn't care about anything. I wouldn't recommend this. I'm not going to elaborate any further than we already have. I will give this 0.5 skeleton keys out of 5.
One can only hope that the 2021 Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead is nowhere as close to this film. It is boring. Like, the idea of them facing off against a skeleton Army of the Dead would be fine if they actually did something cool with it. For I wanted, like, Army of Darkness, Jason and the Argonauts, Sinbad, Clash of the Titans. I wanted old school people fighting skeletons, and it only happened for a couple of minutes near the end of the film. The rest of it was just really bad character development for characters you just don't care about. It's a boring film that has some cool CGI. Not really worth the watch, so I wouldn't recommend it. So with that being said, I'd give this film 0.5 PT Cruises out of 5.
It's like a cruise ship with no room service.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, links are in the description. It's free on Tubi. And if you want to hear our thoughts on Army of the Dead 2021, link will also be in the description. Once it's out, should be this week. If you're watching this after, there it is. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with everything Bloodbath and Beyond. And we promise, we're not going to troll you ever again. Not one bit.